Welcome, welcome, welcome to Anna Miss Thing. And of course, you're always here with moi, and I am feeling blossom. Yes, I am. How is everybody today? I know, I've been very naughty. I've been MIA for a couple of days. I just have not been feeling my usual bubbly self. But I'm back. I'm back. Yes, I know. One missed me. I know you did. So, have I got some juicy bits for you today? Yes, I have. But before we go into that, let me play my little promo. Gotta get you guys remembering. Come on now. Play. Hey, and I'm Miss Thing, your growth coach. What have I got to share with you today? Okay, so as you all may know, or maybe you don't know, it's Children and Youth's Mental Health Week. As we know, so many of our children and young people have been struggling due to the fact of the coronavirus, and not necessarily because they have actually experienced the coronavirus, but it's because their parents have maybe experienced it. They've been detached from a grandparent, and they also have had to go through, which is not the norm, no school, going to school, homeschool. It's been a bit crazy for all of our children. There is not one child that hasn't been impacted severely by this pandemic. And I'm hoping that this week alone, when it's Children's Mental Health Week, that you all have been taking the time to love on your children. Just let them know that you care about them, that you know that this is not the norm, but it doesn't matter. They are special, and that they're here for such a time as this. This is a time where, you send a little text, you maybe mess about with a TikTok, you give them that special meal, and you think about their mental health and their actual well-being. It's sometimes we overlook it. We're thinking about ourselves and we're like, oh my gosh, I'm stressed. I could lose my job. The family, I don't want to get sick. I can't see my mom. I can't see my this. And we forget about the kids. We forget about the children and what they're going through and their experience. And so, Mental Health Week this week is highlighting how COVID-19 impacts and has affected our children. There are so many different resources out there that you can access to give you extra support on playing games, different activities, indoor golf, indoor tennis, exercising up and down the stairs, gardening if you've got a garden, planting in a plant box, waiting for the seeds. There's so many different things that you can do just so that your young person or children do not be overwhelmed by what is happening in the world today. And it's difficult for them trying to be able to study when they're not in their right environment. Is also really difficult. And even the babies, toddlers, they know things are not normal. They're not getting to go to their toddler groups. They're not getting to interact with other kids. Parents are worried if their children mingle. You don't know who to have in your bubble, not bubble. The world's practically gone mad. But I just want you all to just think about our young people and our children as they go through all of this right now in this pandemic. And I'm going to just give you a few resources of where you go. And remember, even with your children, they need to feel safe. They need to feel secure, and you need to give your home needs to be that diverse, inclusive, accepting, welcoming, safe space for everyone. If your home is not that, then where else can your children go? So we really have to start looking at how we do things and the way how we are with our children and young people. So there's a really place, great place, but it's called placetobe.org. It's a really good organization for children and their mental health and well. And then we have a few more that I'm going to, because I just want you to be able to have these resources at your fingertips. If you do need some tips and you're stuck, you can get in touch and I will be able to information your way. So, okay, right. So we've got invisiblechildren.org. That's another one for supporting kids' mental health. We've got PACER.org. So that's another one that you can go to. They give free information and resources. You just have to ask. Starlight.org is another one. Capitalizeforkids.org. childrensmentalhealthweek.org.uk, which gives you everything with regards to this week, and it changes each year. And then you have the National Children's Mental Health Awareness Week, which is also this. So you've got different sites that are just focusing on this special week. So I'm hoping that you've all got the time to just spend that little bit extra with your children or young person and just let them know that you love them, because that's what this is all about. And Mental Health Week is that we acknowledge that your children have gone through hell. They're going through hell. We're all going through hell. We're locked in, locked out, quarantined, vaccinated, not vaccinated. It's crazy. And the children are struggling. And even though they may not say they're struggling, they are struggling. They're not being able to keep up with the social environment and mix in their social bubbles as normal. They're not going to school. Then their school will be, a class will be closed down because of the virus. It's very, very daunting. So let's think about our children and their mental health and take the time to be there for them. So just again, invisiblechildren.org, pacer.org, starlight.org, capitalizeforkids.org, childrensmentalhealthweek.org.uk, FFCMH, National Children's Mental Health Awareness Week, and the placetobe.org.uk. So those are just some organizations that you can use to help you support your children and young people if they, well, I'm sure they need, I wouldn't say if, we all do. We all need to just know that someone's there for us. So that's on our Children's Mental Health Week. Oh, boom. And then, of course, I just want to advertise my 7 steps to healing and self-development. Started last Sunday. It was a brilliant course. I've got a few more spaces. I had to add an extra day because of demand. So I'm just letting you guys know there are still a few places left. If you are interested, get in touch with me. Mind away. I wouldn't wait. I would get in touch. Call me, book a free 30-minute call. I got you. But this 7 steps to healing and self-development, once you've had this experience, your whole world is going to change. Embrace, and you will love on you even more than you ever did before. So what's my story? As you know, I love to share a story, and on Sunday, if you were listening to OMG Real Talk, we had an amazing story from the wonderful Camilla Brown talking about her life as the adventures, the diary of a church girl. Let me get it right, not the adventures, the diary of a church girl. And in that story, she talked about what happened to her prior to her joining the church. Sadly, all the abuse and everything she faced. And then when she came and still struggling with sex and how she overcame it, and you know what she had to do, what she had to go through as she was in that situation. And it just sort of fell right in line because, as I told you a couple of weeks before, I'm writing a new book. Woohoo! What is this book, you say? Well, I'm going to tell you. Now, I want you to brace yourself because it is not the expected type of book, and it's not all that soppy stuff. No. Um, I'm not knocking the romantics. I know this is your month. Sorry. This is your month. Love, and smoochy kisses. Yes, but I'm not that type. So I have written a book and it is called, wait, I think I need to give my drum roll. 1 minute. You know, I like to give my drum roll. Let me get ready. No, not the drum roll, please. No sex, please. I'm a Christian. Yeah, right. Did you hear that? No sex, please. I'm a Christian. Yeah, right. So what is that about, I hear you say? What is a book called No Sex, Please, I'm a Christian? Yeah, right, all about? Well, the reality is, if you're like me or anyone out there that says that they're a Christian, they're not married, they've been saved, they've been water baptized, I don't know, whatever, the Spirit took you. But then now they expect you to just be celibate. They expect you to just shut everything off, down below the waist, and just carry on as a eunuch. Wait, that's not reality. That's not real. That is not how people live. And now I can't talk for the celestial virgin or the ones that have not entertained any sex or intimacy prior, but I have to say, if you have had some, it's kind of difficult to just switch that bit off in your brain. I'm just saying. So this book is not PG, so I am warning you now, and that's one of the reasons why I came on later, so that we can talk freely about things. But I know there are many that, since I've been talking to people about book, they're like, oh my goodness, yes, oh my god, how can you say that? It's so true. Blah, blah, blah. And so I'm actually putting it out there to you. I'm still looking, because I haven't completed it. The aim is to complete the book by the end of the month. I'm still looking for people who would be willing to be anonymous, of course, but share their story of how they handle their sexuality and sex while they are a Christian. Just interested in different perspectives, because I didn't want it to just be from the girl side, you know. But yeah, so let me know if you're interested. DM me, put it in my inbox so we can have a chit chat. So let me read for you just a little tidbit of the book. Chapter 1, Before Being Saved. I suppose I should put my disclaimer out now. This book is not going to be PG, and we will talk about sex. Yes, you heard right, sex. And yes, I am a Christian author, and I also live in the real world and realize that when you're saved, been baptized, experienced the calling on your life, or whatever brought you to the foot of the cross, your sexual organs don't die. And they don't die to self. They actually, if you ask me, become more alive. It can be a hot mess at times, trying to abstain and keep your mind right. The struggle is real, and I do not intend to pretend or lie. Being a Christian and not having sex, if you're single, is, I think, one of the hardest things to overcome in your Christian life. That's just my opinion. You can challenge me on that. I'm all for it. So what will we be talking about? Sex. Oh yes, I already said that. Intimacy, sexuality, hormones, attractions, holding back. What the heck? I'll have to pray for forgiveness. Let's just do it. And the blessing of sex that has been given to us by the Creator, which oftentimes churches and religious institutions make sordid and dirty. Well, it's not. And I have come to bust the myth of no sex, please. I'm a Christian. Yeah, right. Isn't this exciting? A Christian book all about sex and sexual experiences, or maybe the lack of them. I crack my own self up. As stated in my disclaimer, this book is not PG. So if you are under 14 years, go put this book right back where you found it and wait until you reach high school age. Please, parents, if your children are avid readers and you have this book in their presence, they will desire to read it. So you will need to manage their exposure, as I will not be held responsible for your child's awareness. And to my dear prude and maybe frigid Christian brethren, this book may also not be for you, as if you're shy or underexposed, this may be a bit too much for you. Then again, if you're open-minded, you may learn quite a lot to assist you when you do get that spouse of your dreams and live that kingdom relationship. Whoop, whoop. So let's begin at the beginning, shall we? Let's try Genesis 2:18-25. From verse 18, now the Lord said, it is not good, beneficial for man to be alone. I will make him a helper, one who balances him, a counterpart who is suitable and complementary for him. So the Lord God formed out of the ground every animal of the field and every bird of the air and brought them to Adam to see what he would call them. And whatever the man called a living creature, that was its name. And the man gave names to all the livestock and to the birds of the air and to every animal of the field. But for Adam there was not found a helper that was suitable, a companion for him. Oh. So the Lord God caused the deep sleep to fall upon Adam, and while he slept, he took one of his ribs and closed up the flesh at that place. And the rib which the Lord God had taken from the man, he made, and he fashioned and formed into a woman. And he brought her and presented her to the man. And then Adam said, this is now bone of my bones and flesh of my flesh. She shall be called woman, because she was taken out of man. For this reason a man shall leave his mother and his father, and shall be joined to his wife, and they shall become one flesh. And the man and his wife were both naked and were not ashamed or embarrassed. Ah, the good old days when you could walk around naked. Now, if you're like me, this is just such an amazing scene of man and woman become one, and off they go into the sunset. Now, in the Garden of Eden, that kind of worked, as there was no one else, and it was just them. Well, there were other people, but we're not going to talk about that. Adam and Eve are the stars of our show, so let's follow them for a few moments. So we go to Genesis 4:1. Now the man Adam knew Eve as his wife, and she conceived and gave birth to Cain. And she said, I have obtained a man, a baby boy, a son, with the help of the Lord. My first question here is, didn't she know Adam from before? Like, weren't they together forever in the garden until they were put out and now they're just living on the earth? I mean, let's get a bit more descriptive here. But I get it. They were married and they did what only married couples are meant to do. They had sex. The end. Oh boy, if that were true. So I've decided to leave you there with that. And we are going to have a little tit tat. I'm not going to tell you anymore. Read the book. So my challenge to you is, and I want you guys to be truthful, and you know me, OMG real talk, we like to keep it real. Have you, maybe you haven't, maybe you are somebody who's in the faith, whatever faith you're in, and you have not struggled at all with the desire to have sex. You were single and then you got married, or you're still single and you're not married and you're just okay with just strolling and tickety-booing along in the trials and joys of life, and you're cool. Nothing is not, how should I put it? Nothing is titillating your fancy. There you go. And so in so doing, be upfront. And I know that you're maybe not going to want to put it in the chat because people are not that bold. Well, I am. But talk to me and tell me, DM me, tell me privately if you have to, what your thoughts on celibacy in your Christian walk. How easy is that? I personally feel it's not easy, even though some people think, yeah, it's a doddle. People are monks, people are eunuchs, people become Buddhists, and they determine that they will be just them for the rest of their life. But I'm not that type, okay? And the thing is, even when we look in scripture, because Eve, she kind of messed up, and the father then said, well, because of this thing that you have done, he then said that she's going to desire and she's going to crave for her husband. And so, in so doing, it is in the woman to want to desire to have her husband. Now, you would have thought oftentimes the man should be able to roll a lot better single than we can. But from what I'm hearing, finds like the men are having even more of a struggle. So, those are definitely some of you guys I'd love to hear from about your walk with the Lord and abstaining and being celibate from sex. Now, again, as I said, when you are, if you've never had sex before, then maybe you don't have an understanding of the experience. So then it's not going to really bother you that much. But if you're somebody that has had sex, you've had intimacy, you've been in love, you've had the romance, the this, the whatever, and then you become a Christian, how did you manage in that scenario? Did you just switch off and that was it? Or did you have to keep going before the Lord and putting it at the foot of the cross? Just an interest. In this book, as I said, no sex, please. I'm a Christian. Yeah, right. We're going to be discussing all these scenarios and these topics. We're going to make sure that we have an honest, relatable rapport throughout the book on the challenges that celibacy and abstinence, when you are in that choosing that life, can face. And I don't want it to be like, it's not about judgment or condemnation. It's about being real about the scenario. Sex was made to be a pleasurable, enjoyable thing between two people. And for oftentimes what I find, where the church makes it sordid and you just think, oh my gosh, it's a terrible thing, and then it only becomes a wonderful thing when you become married. That's actually not true. And oftentimes, so many people in these faith-based organizations, and especially churches, have had sex before they've been saved. And then they become so holy and so righteous, it's actually just unacceptable. So because of that, and then also what I realized, there are some people that are, because they are in their faith and they've been in the churches and they're following the way of the Lord, amen, I'm really happy to hear that, they then also have no clue about sex and have no clue and the pleasure that you can receive from being with someone and that person that you love. So yeah, we're going to talk about that as well in the book. So if you are not a prude and you're not shy and you're open to some real talk, yes, OMG, real talk, we are talking about sex in the Christian walk, then please get in touch. Let's talk about it and let's have a conversation. Let's talk frank about sex and being a Christian. So I may or may not share the second chapter with you next week. Tell me in the chat if you want to hear it. If not, you can just wait till I publish it. And for those of you who will be willing to participate in my study, then please do get in touch. I am looking forward to hear, especially from the male Christian perspective, actually. Email, so I kind of gather where it is on their part, but I really do want it to be equal. I don't want it to be sexist. So please, if there are males that are not too shy to talk to a lady about this stuff, nothing crude or anything disrespectful, just generally discussing a topic, but just letting us know like how you cope with that scenario if you are single, and how you manage with that from abstinence to celibacy until you became married, if that's the case. So yeah, that would be cool. So there you go. So that's my new book coming out at the end of the beginning of March, because ending of February, beginning of March. It's called No Sex Please. I'm a Christian. Yeah, right. And so that's what I'll be releasing by the end of the month. So I am looking for a few more experiences. That's it. I'm looking for a few more experiences. So if you're willing, please touch base with me and let's talk about it. So once again, I just want to highlight some of the courses that I've got at the moment. I've got a Get Creative course on my course platform, which is anamisthing.podia.com. Go and have a battle at that. It's a 5-day course. You will love it. Get those creative juices flowing so that you can ensure that you're in your, your best inspirational mode, so that you can go out there and be the best you that you can be. Also, don't forget my 7 steps to healing and self-development course has just started. We still have a few more places. So if you want to jump on, please let me know. Contact me. You can jump in on the next session on Sunday, because we've just started. So you won't miss too much, and I can work with you in between. So that will be another thing there. Biz tip special will now for you on the course platform as well. You can access that. And I also have a Get Focused course, which is one to help you to get your mind right, get focused if you want to get into a new career, business, or even to study, and how to get your mind focused and to blot out the things that are not unnecessary. Prime example, not to be on social media unless it's for a purpose, not just scrolling up as people do. So that's another course that I've got there for you called Get Focused. So go and check out the course platform. You'll find something there for everyone who's interested in self-development and in entrepreneurship. Let me see, what's the last thing I've got here for you? Oh yes, so we have done for me to close and say thank you. If you want to touch base with me, remember you can get a hold of me at flawsome.simplybookit. Book yourself an appointment, 30 minutes free. We can have a talk about what it is that you would like to grow about. What is the dream that you've got in your heart that you maybe haven't let out yet? We can talk about that. So contact me, book an appointment, and we can have that free chat. Also, you can get a hold of me on my website, www.anamisthing.com. And there you can also access some information and see previous videos. And of course, as always, as we all do say, like and subscribe. Like and subscribe, Anna Miss Thing. Like and subscribe, Anna Miss Thing, on YouTube, Facebook, and Instagram. Woohoo! Thank you very much. Appreciate you. It was a pleasure, and I am excited to hear some of your stories, because I know that there are many of us out there that have been struggling with sex, even though we are Christians. Not because we're Christians does our genitalia shut down. No. So talk to me. Tell me what's going on. How have you overcome? How have you managed since you've been saved? And if you have fallen by the way, like myself sometimes, because I just keep it real, then how did you manage with that? And how did you feel? And of course, that is going to be in the book also. So thank you guys for spending time. It was a pleasure once again. Stay safe and stay blessed. Goodbye.